What is up? Welcome to the Monday virtual sales training call. And yeah, we didn't have the call last week. A lot of us were getting back from an event that we had out in Vegas, which was really great. We focused a lot on virtual. It was solid. And as always, guys, like I have what I want to talk about on here, and hey, I've got an idea of like, hey, here's the direction we want to take it, but. If any of you guys have, questions, stuff that's going on, you're noticing, hey, I'm getting this a lot or any of that kind of stuff, post it up in the chat and I'll blab on here for maybe 15, 20 minutes and then, we can hang out and answer questions if you guys have them. So, really what I wanted to talk about today is the second part of the call. And so as you're calling virtually, as you're selling virtually, you'll notice, and I've said this probably 1,000 times. A bunch of you guys are probably sick of me saying this. I'm going to shut this window real quick, so bear with me. I do have pants on, by the way. There we go. You guys can see my messy office here, but as we're selling and as we're doing things virtually, um, and if you guys have been around for a little while, I've said this like 1,000 times. You're probably tired of me saying this, but it is absolutely it's just straight up the truth. People are not buying a product; they are buying a solution to a problem. Okay. And our job, whether we're in person, whether we're selling virtually, our job is to find out what that problem is and then help them with a solution. And the insurance products that we help people with, those end up solving the problem for somebody. Like that is the solution. But I see so many agents out there that they're just trying to get on the phone and they're just trying to pitch a product. So my point in this is if we go about it this way that I'm talking about here, and I'll kind of talk through it. And if you guys have questions, again, just put them up in the chat. It'll make the closing and the second call that much better, that much easier, that much more effective when you're talking to people. So what do I mean? We're calling leads, whatever leads you're calling. We've got a ton of people that are just kicking butt on Ethos right now. So I'm going to kind of focus on Ethos leads, but whatever lead you're calling, it's no different. Okay, so you talk with somebody. Hey, you filled out this form for life insurance. Hey, John. Usually when somebody fills this out, usually there's a reason for it, or maybe a motivation behind it. Like what has you shopping around for life insurance? That is a why question. That is a problem question. Like, hey, why'd you fill this out? What's the problem? Okay, and I'm trying to figure out what the problem is. And we've done some calls on this, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but you find out what the problem is, and then I ask them what I call just the basically like the if I would you type question, where it's like, hey, found out what the problem is. You want to make sure that Susie's taken care of if something ever happens to you. If we could find something that covers this and it fits the budget, is there any reason, anything that would stop you from getting something set up? I'm getting a commitment from the client. Okay. If we could solve your problem, is there any reason you wouldn't move forward with a solution so long as it fits within the budget? And they're like, no, this sounds awesome. I would do it. Okay, great. So then I get all their health information. And this is really what I want to zoom in on this call right now is the solution part. So we found the problem. We've asked them that if would question, hey, if we could solve your problem, would you move forward with the solution? And then how do we go about presenting the solution in a way that works? Okay, in a way that is is effective. Okay, that's what I'm going to be talking about on here. I'm going to talk about how I do it. Other people do it differently. We're going to start getting more and more different people on these calls because we got more people that are selling virtually. I see Julius on here. I don't know what he submitted last week, but it was something crazy, like $30,000-$40,000 worth of premium last week. Submitted virtually from home. Wearing socks and sandals or whatever. Just like from home. Okay, which is awesome. So Julius, hit me up, dude. We need to get you on maybe next week if you're free. But when it comes to, so we've got the problem, and then now it's time to talk about the solution. And don't get caught up of like, oh, is this on the first call? Is this a one call close? Is this a two call close? It all works the same. Okay, whether it's on the same phone call that you got the solution, or excuse me, the problem, the call, if it's a one call close, if it's a two call close, doesn't matter. Okay, how are we going to go about effectively presenting the solution to somebody? And so first of all, like that's why you need to find out the why. You need to find out the problem, because then we can solve a problem. If the why's not there, if the problem's not there, it's hard to come up with a solution that fits a problem we don't know about. Okay. So how do we go about it? And I do a lot of 2 call closes. We have a lot of people that are doing 1 call closes. It doesn't matter. If it's a 2 call close, here's how I open it. Okay. I'm going to schedule the next meeting, and then I call, Susie back. And at the time that we scheduled, I'm going to say, Susie, yep. Hey, Susie, it's Nick with Legacy Life. Is now still a good time for us to chat? Yep, now still good. Okay, cool. Here's how I start it. Great news. Great news. I was able to find some really good solutions for you. So I'm going to start with great news. Okay, I was able to find some really good solutions for you. But I just want to make sure that we're setting this up the right way. So I'm going to retouch on the why. Okay, because if we're doing 1 call versus 2 call, if we're doing a 2 call close, the why, we brought it up on the first call, it might be a little bit fuzzy. Maybe the call is 2 days later, maybe it's a week later, maybe it's the next day, maybe it's the same day. It doesn't really matter. I'm always going to bring the why back up. Like, okay, cool. Great news. Was able to find some really good options for you. Just want to make sure that we're getting everything set up the right way here for you. You wanted to get this set up that way Gerald and your son don't have to pay out of pocket or anything like that when that day comes, right? Like, I'm just going to touch on the why. I'm not going to sit there and keep asking her a bunch of questions and all this other stuff. I'm just going to touch on the why. Okay, I'm going to tap it. Okay, I'm going to tap the why and just get a little bit of confirmation. I'm just reminding her of why we're doing what we're doing. Okay, so all right, hey, you want to make sure we're setting this up the right way. You wanted to set this up, so you and Gerald, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to touch on the why. And she's like, yeah, okay, cool. So I already told her great news, retouch on the why, and then I'm going to get into the solution. And this is where I feel like a lot of people, especially if you're new, you might fumble around a little bit right here when you're new. And depending on what the solution is to somebody, compared to their expectations, you might approach this a little bit differently. So what do I mean by that? I mean, sometimes you have people that are 78 years old and they want $1 million worth of term. Okay. And they ain't healthy and they ain't getting $1 million worth of term. Okay. So how do we approach that? It might be a little bit differently than the 32-year-old who's, going to get preferred plus. It's maybe a little bit of an easier conversation. So here's how I go about it. So great news, touch on the why, and then, all right, Susie, so you were telling me that you wanted to get this set up. You were looking to get around $50,000 worth of coverage. Like I told you, great news, was able to find some really good options. And we work with, like I told you before, we work with 40, 50 different companies out there that provide this stuff. And then I am gonna start building up we've touched on the why. I'm going to start building up the product that I'm about to tell her the pricing on and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just going to tell you guys how I do it. Other people do it differently. Other people say, hey, you give them 3 options or give them 2 options. Here's how I do it. So Susie, you were looking to get 50,000. I shop this around with all the different companies that we have. And for someone that has your health, whatever their health is, okay, maybe she's super healthy, maybe she's not healthy. Okay, if she's super healthy, how I'm gonna go about, like, hey, Susie, like, you're 72 years old, super healthy. If you're for a healthy 72-year-old, okay, these guys are just one of the best, if not the best. Cost of insurance, it's just you got to be healthy enough to qualify, and I think that you are healthy enough to qualify. So, for the 50,000, it's going to be with Mutual of Omaha. That's the name of the company. And for 50,000, it's going to be blah, blah, blah. It's going to be $173 per month. This is how I go about it. Is that in the budget? Is that out of the budget? And I just openly ask them, is that in the budget? Is that out of the budget? And she's just going to tell me. Like, you'll have people that you will be surprised. Just talking to them on the phone, you don't think they have a whole ton of budget, and you're like, hey, for that 50,000, it's going to be $342 a month. Is that in the budget? Is that out of the budget? And you will have people that are like, oh yeah, I could do 342 a month. That sounds pretty good. And your job as the agent is to not sound surprised if their budget is different than what you thought their budget was. Okay, let them tell you the budget. Don't put a budget on them. She wants 50,000. I'm going to give her the price for 50,000. Hey, for a healthy 72-year-old, it's going to be $342 a month. Is that in the budget? Is that out of the budget? And then I zip it. Okay. Because they will tell you. All right. And if they're like, oh my gosh, $342 a month, that's way out of the budget. Yeah, that's okay. Here's what I tell all my clients is it's more important that we set this up in a way that fits the budget than getting a huge amount of insurance. Said another way, 10,000 that fits the budget, Susie, is better than 50,000 that doesn't fit the budget because we want to make sure that this is there when you need it. We need this coverage. We're going to set this up today so it's going to serve its purpose. Okay. And if it doesn't fit the budget, then you'll get tired of making these premium payments. All right. And then it won't be there 6 months from now, 6 years from now, 36 years from now. So we got to set it up in a way that fits the budget. So $342 a month isn't in the budget. Give you the numbers here. So, 40,000 is $297 a month. Is that in the budget? We still, and they will tell you, let them guide you, but just by asking, you ask them questions, lead them down the path. Oh, that's way out of the budget, and they'll start saying stuff like, oh, what is 20,000? Okay, well, yeah, 20,000. This is Mutual of Omaha, blah, 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 blah. It's $187 a month. And I'm just making up numbers. I'm not looking at quotes here. And at some point, usually like what I do is I start higher and I walk them down, find out what fits the budget. Okay, 187, that'll do. That'll fit the budget. Or $37 a month, that fits the budget. Okay, great. So that's how I present a solution. Okay, just generically speaking, hey, she doesn't have a bunch of health problems. She's kind of okay health wise. Maybe she's healthy. If someone is healthy and they're going to get them like the IULE or the Americo IUL or something like that, um, tell them how them being healthy is like, hey, if you're healthy, this is really the best. Okay, that's how I do that. Now, if they're unhealthy, let's say Susie's got COPD and she's had congestive heart failure or whatever the health situation is, and she wants to get like this huge amount of coverage, but her health is kind of capping her. Here's how I phrase that to somebody. So, hey, Susie, great news. Was able to find you some really good options. And you have to discipline yourself to it, even if the solution isn't what Susie thought it ought to be, understand that you are the expert. She is not the expert. So when you say great news, like some agents will be like, hey, Susie, so I wasn't able to get you the 100,000 that you were hoping for. I'm really sorry. Like, don't be apologetic. Okay. Like her health is her health. It's your job to like, hey, we're going to find the best solution possible and present it to them in the best way possible. Okay. And yeah, Susie might be a little bit disappointed, but here's how you go about that. See, Susie's all jacked up. She can't get, $100,000 worth of coverage. I'm just going to say something like, hey, Susie, great news. Was able to find you some really good options. Just want to make sure we're setting this up right. You're wanting to, get the coverage in place, make sure that your husband can make some of those, pay off the mortgage, make some of those mortgage payments, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Repeat back their words to them. Okay. And she's like, yep. I was like, okay, cool. So here's how it works. So with the C, and I just call it out. I just give them the inside baseball on how insurance works. Hey, Susie, so with the COPD and the congestive heart failure, it's just going to put you into a certain category with a lot of these insurance companies. And like I said, we work with 40, 50 different insurance companies. I shop this around for you. And just, the COPD, the congestive heart failure, it's going to put you into a certain category. With a lot of these companies, you can still get really, really great coverage. It's going to limit, the amount of companies that we can get. And it's also going to limit the amount of coverage that you can get. So the maximum you can get with the COPD and the congestive heart failure is, hey, it's going to be 50,000. It's with this company called Transamerica. They're huge. They've been around for forever. And for that 50,000, and I just go, hey, 50,000 is going to be $427 a month, like whatever the number is. Okay, is that in the budget? Is that out of the budget? She's like, oh, well, that's way out of the budget. And sometimes they'll just like, whoa, that's way out of the budget. And you're like, okay, yeah, that's all right. So 40,000's this, 25,000's this, and you just kind of keep walking them down. And here's what people need to know: when their health is jacked up, it is our job to I call it painting them into a corner. That might sound bad, but you just need to help them realize. Here's all it is you need to help them realize that their health is the problem. I'm not the problem. The insurance companies aren't the problem. It's kind of their health that's the problem. So that's why I tell them, like, hey, just the COPD, like the insurance companies are just going to see that a certain way. They're going to put you into a certain category. And same with the congestive heart failure. They're going to treat that pretty seriously. The great news is we can still get you something. You can probably still get approved for something. And the best option is blah, blah, blah. The best option is Transamerica. The best option is this company called Royal Neighbors of America. The best option is this company called Citizens, whatever it is. Okay. You just need to, eh, here's what agents do instead of that. Okay. I like to explain it to the client, show them the inside baseball. Hey, I shop this all these different companies. Here's how they're going to look at this. Here's going to look at this, and then you're going to get hit with the tobacco rates too, which is going to make it a little bit more expensive. But hey, 10,000 that fits the budget is better than 100,000 or 50,000 that doesn't fit the budget. Um, I'm going to just explain this to them. What a lot of other agents will do is they'll say, hey, with your health, it's just not going to, the most you can get is 20,000, and um, they don't explain to them why they can only get 20,000, why their health is limiting to them. Okay. So you let them in on that. Okay. Like, yeah, you're not going to meet their ridiculous expectations. That's not your fault. It's their health's fault. Okay. So do a good job, or as good of a job as you can do, explaining that to somebody, so they understand, why that is. And then here's the other thing that I'll do is I will almost always present to somebody the best option. Okay. And if they're like borderline health wise, I'm gonna I'm gonna probably a lot of times I'm gonna shoot for the best. Like, let's say somebody's borderline, like, hey, maybe they can get the IULE or the move or the Americo IUL. Maybe they can get those things, but maybe they have to go final expense, and I don't necessarily know what it's going to be. I might try for the best one. Say, hey, so you might be able to get approved for this. I think it's worth a shot. Like, and hey, worst case, this is why we've got 30 plus other companies, 40 plus other companies. But we're going to try for this. And, I know you wanted the 50,000. It's going to be $127 a month. Is that in the budget? Yeah. Okay, cool. So we're going to try for this, and just know, like, I will tell them up front, just know, like, hey, if this one doesn't go through, if they don't approve you for some reason, um, we've got 40 other companies, 30 other companies that we can go with, for something like this. So we need to find out what the problem is, so then we can present a solution. And the solution happens to be obviously an insurance product for life insurance. But the same thing is true for annuities. The same thing is true for IULs. The same thing is true for all this stuff. Okay. We need to find out what the problem is. So we got to get good at getting the why in that first call. And then when we present the solution to somebody, that's how I go about doing it. I don't apologize. I'm not asking them questions like, "Hey, would you be okay with this or that?" Or like, no, I'm going to present them the solution. Hey, would you be okay? Like, here's the weakest thing you say. Hey, I know you wanted 100,000, but would you be okay? The insurance companies aren't going to approve you for that. So, would you be okay with just getting 25,000? Like, no, 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 no. You are the professional. You need to walk them through everything. It's not like you go to the doctor's office and they're like, hey, would you be okay if we put you on the scale? Like, you're looking pretty hefty compared to last time. Like, they don't say that. They're like, get on here, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, they just tell you the truth. Tell them the truth. Okay. And not in a way that's going to hurt their feelings or anything like that. But, explain to them why they're not able to get this $1 million term that they thought they could get. Okay. Well, you got COPD, and, the insurance companies, like, they're just not willing to give you, over 50,000. If you have COPD, it's going to be really, really tough. Just explain it to them. And a lot of times they will go along with it if you do a good job of explaining to them why their expectations are missed. Okay. And then for the healthy people, I present them the healthy people products. Okay. And I build up the, like, hey, this is, if you're a healthy 74-year-old female, like, this is the best. These guys are really the best in the country. Okay. Like, they really are. So, and I think you're healthy enough to get it. And, blah, blah, blah. It's with a company called Mutual of Omaha, whatever. Um, let's see here. For first question on here is for new agents that are utilizing their upline, what are some tie downs to have a better show rate? I know a lot of people are busy at work and I don't have time for fact finding, so that relationship doesn't get built. Any suggestions? I send digital business cards, ask them to save my number. Maybe it could be good to text in the morning as a reminder, as a confirmation, or not confirmation that you will call at whatever time. Anything else? People are going to no show you. Welcome to virtual. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that we can't be better and get more, tie them down better and all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, there's little things that we can do, and I'll talk about those. But just know that like your expectations need to be that if you're sitting in your desk at home, people can just not answer the phone, and then there goes your appointment. Okay, and it's not like, oh gosh, that's just with ethos leads. Like, nah, it's with everything. I've got IUL leads that do the same thing to me. I have annuity leads that do the same thing to me. Like, welcome to virtual. You're gonna have like half the people you set appointments with not show up. Get good at follow up. You know what I mean? Get good at following up with those people, giving them grace. Going through everything that David talked about in Vegas, as far as what he does. But what are some things that we can do to improve it? Okay. Text them an appointment confirmation. I send them. So here's what I do. I book an appointment with somebody. Like, hey, Gerald, great chatting with you. Here's all my info for you. And I send them my virtual business card. I've got you in the calendar for tomorrow at, whatever, 10 o'clock in the morning. I'll be giving you a call then. I send them that. Another thing that you can do that a lot of people will do is they'll send them like a little text message reminder. Like, hey, Gerald, calling you here in 30 minutes. Found some great options for you. So that stuff doesn't hurt. Okay, because you're just giving them reminders. Like I am a big fan of those reminders. So do the reminders. Just know that like you're also gonna have a bunch of people no show you. So I text them, hey, I got you my calendar for this day. Here's all my information. Send them a text message reminder. That's basically what I do. Okay. Hope that helps, Janet. So yeah, guys. That's what I got for today. If any of you guys have questions or things you think I might be able to help out with, let me know. Put it up in the chat. And when it comes to just presenting the solution, we want to present the solution in a way that's easily digestible for the client, that exudes confidence from you as well. Okay, like a big part of virtual, the reason to me it just seems so easy to call these people and help them and get them all that, it's just because of confidence. So if you're not feeling that confidence yet, like that's okay. You don't need to feel 100% confident when you're brand new. But if you've been around for a while, like present the solution with confidence. They are trusting you. You are the expert. So don't sound wishy-washy. Don't sound like, oh, well, I think maybe you could get this one. Like, hey, you know, it, you got a little bit of health stuff going on, but I think you can still get approved for this. We're gonna try it. Say it like that. Like we're going to try it. And hey, worst case, we've got 30 plus other companies. We can apply somewhere else. You need to be able to present the solution with confidence. And it really, really, really helps. Whether this one call, two call, whatever. Okay. It really helps if you found out what the problem is. And then when you present the solution, it's like, hey, this is clearly solving this problem that you told me you had. And you even asked them already, like, hey, if we could find something that fits the budget, would you move forward? And they're like, yeah, helps a ton. Okay, because then you get a commitment from them. Like, hey, if I go put in this work, okay, and find you a solution, are you going to move forward with it? Are you going to keep, basically like, are you going to move forward with it? And you get them to say yes, and like, hey, like, cool, let's rock and roll. And then you got to present the solution with confidence. So that's all I got for today, guys. We're I can't believe it, but it's already May 12th. It's almost mid-May. Some of you guys are kicking butt, taking names. Some of you guys, maybe playing some catch up. Whatever it is, we've essentially got three more full weeks of May. So May's not over. Okay, we've got 3 more weeks of May. All right, put your heads down. Let's go kick some butt. Let's go make it happen. Any way that I can help, feel free to reach out. And we will see you guys next week on the call. Tonight for the Legacy Life Team call, I'm going to be talking more about annuities. So we'll send you guys all that stuff. So appreciate y'all. Have a blessed rest of your day. Let's go kick some butt.